What is up, everybody? Welcome back. This is your favorite YouTuber, JR Wisdom, and I want to welcome you back once again for another live stream here. I'm just gonna hop right into it after covering a few things. Obviously, y'all see the thumbnail. We're gonna be talking about Candace Owens here this weekend in reference to the Roe v. Wade situation and it being overturned. So, as you guys who follow Candace or you don't follow Candace, you know that she's currently with child and probably going to be delivering soon. So she just weighed in on it. I think I did get a chance to check out most of this video. So she had some things to say about the situation, and for all the critics and detractors, if you will, who have issues with her, I can understand. You either like her, you either love her, or you hate her at the end of the day. So I'm going to get into that, but make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button right now. Helps to support the channel. Also, before we get into it, or whether you're about to watch it, go ahead and shout out where you are viewing from right now, where you're representing your age, sex, gender, whatever have you, whatever floats your boat. Go ahead and comment that in the chat below if you wouldn't mind. And if you got some thoughts that you'd like to get off your chest in reference to this, I got the link pinned in the chat as well for you guys if you want to call in. So anyway, without further ado, man, let's hop right into it. Also, hope you guys having a good weekend as usual. I know I am. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and do it here.
Hello, Facebook. Hello from what is supposed to be maternity leave. I'm supposed to not be doing social media and enjoying these last 2 weeks before I give birth to my daughter. I'm huge. I feel like I'm huge, at least. Very exciting times. But obviously, I wanted to come back and just do a video talking about today, talking about this historic decision and talking about all of these protests that are going to follow, which are quite meaningless because the decision has already been made. But we live in a time where people think that throwing temper tantrums when they don't get what they want is appropriate. I want to make this video particularly to women that are pro-choice, and I hope that if you are pro-choice, you'll listen to this with an open heart. And if you're pro-life, that you will just simply share it in the hopes that somebody who is pro-choice does see it. I have always been very sympathetic and empathetic to women that are pro-choice because I used to be pro-choice for the majority of my life. I was pro-choice until I was 25 years old, almost, maybe a little before, a little after, before I got into politics and started really doing my own research and kind of getting out of what I would describe to be the cultural and the educational bubble, meaning that I went to public school my entire life. There is one side of this political argument that is presented at public schools, and it is pro-choice. I went off to college and took a feminism course, and there is one side that is presented when you go off to university, and it is pro-choice. The concept of my body, my choice, a phrase that I don't even know where it came from, was supplanted into my head before I even had a thought or an understanding of my own. I never learned about adoption in school. I actually grew up in a time when I learned that it was a clump of cells and it wasn't even a baby. And so when I went to college, girls that I was very close with got abortions, and I know what these women went through. And I find the arguments that come from the pro-life side to be just sometimes not even arguments, and just very unsympathetic to the fact that women are actively learning that this is a choice. They're actively learning that this isn't a baby. And when you say to those young women that you're a murderer, right? You're just a murderer. It's not helpful because you're not understanding that these women are brainwashed. I was brainwashed for years throughout school intentionally by an education system, by programs that were put into place by Planned Parenthood beginning in the 1970s to believe that it was just a clump of cells and that having a lot of sexual activity was fine as a young female, and that abortion was no different than like a more drastic form of birth control. Not only that, but I learned that it was the responsible thing to do. So
With that being said, before I'm gonna stop it right there because I feel whether you're pro-choice, pro-life, whatever have you, I think when you have some things in place or options available, people, especially sexually, when it comes to things, whether it whether it be diseases that's curable or incurable diseases. If there's deterrents that usually keep people away from doing certain things, but definitely we see, you know, the option to terminate or cancel, if you will, for lack of better term, even though she already said the A word. You know what I mean? It basically is like a form of birth control at this point. And I think that there are many women who use it as a form of birth control. Obviously, there before it actually became, you know, medically backed. It's been going on for centuries of ways of doing this, which are, you know, medieval, if you have, and there's been concoctions that people have been using for centuries, if not thousands of years, to do that as well. But when it comes to the point where you're just like, well, I can be promiscuous, I can do this, that, and the third, because I always know that there's a backup here that I can just go ahead and use. So everybody's up in arms. Well, not everybody, but so many people are protesting up in arms about this situation. And you know, it's a mixed bag in terms of what all comes along with it. But, you know, I definitely feel her on that with what she's saying. That is it's just another form of birth control. I can use it at whatever time I want to use. And being the clump of cells. Yeah, we are all a clump of cells when it all start. You know, obviously we know the whole process of reproduction and things like that. So I see somebody commenting on there, but people have different opinions on when does life begin. You know, some people say 9 weeks, 8 weeks. Some people say at the moment of conception. Hey, have your opinion, have at it. But you know, I figured I'd stop that. But let's get back to the clip.
So I've always tried to understand that mindset of a woman because I know these women that went and got abortions, and I know that these are not terrible human beings that are murderers. What I say to pro-choicers, if you're still pro-choice, is I want you to be realistic about why you're pro-choice, and I want you to be sincere in your arguments of why you're pro-choice, right? It is foolish to say that this is about protecting women's rights. As I said, I have about 6 friends that have gotten abortions, and out of 6 of them, 5 of them were not doing it because it was their choice, but were doing it because they had pressure from boyfriends, because they had pressure from parents, or because they were scared. These are women in their most vulnerable states that they could possibly be in. They're not doing this because they think, oh, I just don't want to have a kid. They're doing this because pressure is coming from all around them. They have teachers that are telling them that their lives will be ruined if they have a child too soon and they don't have the economic standing to have a child. In many circumstances, they have boyfriends who never wanted the children and who are demanding that they get an abortion. I have been in situations where people in my family have had boyfriends that have broken into their homes demanding that they get an abortion. Domestic violence follows a lot of these situations. You have seen circumstances in the news recently where a woman in Philadelphia was shot at her baby shower by her baby daddy because he didn't want to have the child. This is the more typical circumstances of women getting an abortion. It is something that is done out of fear. These women are terrified when they go to these clinics. These women are crying when they come out of these clinics. These women are not doing this as some form of freedom. So I wish that if you are going to be legitimate about the pro-choice movement, you would acknowledge that this is not something that is about reproductive freedom or helping women. My second hope is that you would acknowledge the true history of this in talking about how this.
Okay, before she gets to that, because I think she's going to talk about something interesting there. Men, obviously, men shoot the club up, if you will. We're not talking about the R word where women get pregnant against their will and things of that nature. You know, I'm not talking about that. We're talking about consensual sex where you actually lay down with someone. And my thing is, are you crying at that time? What is it so hard to stop having sex? And I'm not laughing about it, but I am. Like it's just like, okay, I have the power to have sex. It is my body. I can do this. But if you just in and out, and a lot of you probably know women that are in and out of those places because it's just like going to the clinic, going to for a checkup. You know, I go in there, hey, there's no protection here. I have no problem with going through that process, and you know, let them terminate, if you will. But the fact that we're just like, well, I just can't control myself. I can't have protected sex. I can't use any form of birth control. this is basically the easier birth control of any of them, including abstinence. But neither here nor there, just my thoughts, So y'all let me know. Comment below what you guys think about that. Sheesh. Somebody said, wow, cereal. Goodness.
Benefits men in their ability to demand of women that they get an abortion, that they take this option. Many women who are scared and who are vulnerable, that you recognize that this decision was made by men, entirely made by men. The Supreme Court decision was passed by 7 white men. It is completely foolish for people to be a pro-choicer and to pretend that this is setting women's rights back when women were never able to speak on this issue in the first place. It was decided by men. The textbooks were then written by men, and orchestrated by men to convince them that this was the right thing to do. And women are still living under this delusion that somehow women's rights are being reversed when these were never rights that were decided by women, including the woman that was at the core of Roe v. Wade in the first place, who reversed her decision and ended her life saying that she was pro-life and felt that this decision was wrong. That was made on her behalf. So you can look into the history of that. One of the things that another thing that really bothers me about the pro-choice movement is this failure to recognize the history. And you see a lot right now across social media. People are saying this is a racist decision. I'm specifically calling out Amy Schumer, who alleged that this was what slave holders would have wanted. First and foremost, I think people are really getting tired. I know I certainly have been tired for a long time, but I'm hopeful that after the Black Lives Matter riots, that Black America is waking up to this thing, that when white privileged women want something, they somehow make it, they say, well, if I don't get it, it's racist. That's a ridiculous circumstance. If you are going to put on your profile, please donate to Planned Parenthood, because this decision has been overturned, then I expect you as a pro-choicer to recognize the true history of Planned Parenthood, to recognize that it was created by a eugenicist, that the entire concept of abortion was created during the progressive era. A woman, largely led by Margaret Sanger at the time that they were also performing appendectomies to Black people to make sure that they couldn't give birth. Who wanted to use abortion as a mechanism to get rid of undesirables. So if they thought that a certain class of people should not procreate, and you can go back and you could read Margaret Sanger's writings, they were considered unfit in society. Black people, they did not want them to procreate and have families, so they encouraged them to get abortions and told them that this was the right decision for them to make. It wasn't just Black people, by the way. During that time, it was largely people that were from Southern Europe. Italians were considered undesirables, as well as the east of Europe as well, that were coming into the country, and they were fearful that if these people began to mate and have children, that it would drive down the Nordic race. And there was a book at that time that was the most popular book, which was written by Madison Grant, and it was called The Passing of the Great Race. The entire abortion industry was created around the idea of eugenicism. Planned Parenthood is a racist organization, and they have been successful. You can't just say, oh, well, it changed going forward. She wrote down what her plans were, what her models were, why abortion needed to be taking place, so that you had people that weren't worthy of having children to be able to reproduce. You can't just magically pretend that didn't happen and say, oh, well, then I learned in school, but now it's my body, my choice. Acknowledge the true history, the true abhorrent history of what the abortion industry is, what it was intended to do, and what it has largely been successful in doing. I think Margaret Sanger is one of the most successful progressives that has ever lived, because she set out to do exactly what has been accomplished. Over 18 million Black babies have been aborted. The Black population would be double today had it not been for Planned Parenthood, had it not been for abortion. And the truth is that Planned Parenthood clinics are 70% of them are in minority neighborhoods. Now, you may find that fact checkers on the internet will say that that's not true, and that they looked at a study and saw, and this is what they will say, and this is how tricky they are because they want to obscure the truth, that the majority of places that perform abortion performing services are not primarily in minority neighborhoods. Specifically, I'm talking about Planned Parenthood clinics. When you say, abortion performing services, you're talking about every single hospital, and they try to widen that map and pretend that, oh, well, no, see, look, hospitals are also here and all these clinics are here. No, Planned Parenthood clinics, the majority of them are in majority minority neighborhoods. And that, again, is something that was intended. Again, I am not going to fault you if you hear all of these things and you say, well, I'm still pro-choice, it doesn't matter. But you have to be honest about your arguments. Be sincere in your arguments. Don't pretend this is about a woman's choice. This is about a woman being peer pressured. Don't pretend this is not a life. This is another thing of learning that it was a clump of cells. Pregnant now. And during my first pregnancy, when I was 7 weeks, and I went in, and because they have this, 5D technology where you can zoom in on the baby, I saw my baby's arms dancing and his legs dancing, and I broke down crying, just because of the elation, but also a quiet sadness in realizing that my entire life I had been lied to throughout the education system, that I was unintentionally raised up in an educational cult that wanted me to be the opposite of what a woman should be. I believe firmly that our role as women, is to defend children, is to raise children.
Very well said what she said in terms of that. Yeah, it's still more to clip. I just figured I'd chime in right here about it. Almost seems as if when it comes down to this, as if sex isn't a big deal. You know what I'm saying? The way we talk about it, sex isn't really a big deal. Hey, you have it, you have it. You get pregnant, you get, it's like condoms are an afterthought or Plan B pill. Everybody's saying the prices. I was talking to someone earlier. We're saying that the price of condoms are gonna go up. The Plan B pills are gonna go up. Now I guess many people will think twice about who they're having sex with and the fact that these options that they previously have won't be readily available. Most women that I have had intimate conversations with have had this done, have had abortions. It's not like it's something that's really taboo. You can consider it taboo, but most women have done it. But would they have had children? Would they have been more? Would they have been as promiscuous, if you will, or would they have used protection and things like that? Before the advent of condoms and all this other birth control. Yeah, I saw somebody mention about the herbs and things like that. Yes, that has been going on, but now when it's basically like where the population is at an all-time high. The population has never been this high in the history of the world. Obviously, with the advent of oil, the steam engine, all these other things that have lowered the mortality rate. So these things are also occurring. So with food and the lifespan increasing is just one of those things as well. But I think whether pro-choice, pro-life, for sure it's something that you can't. It's something growing inside of you. It's not something that's dead that's growing inside of you. So whatever you want to call that, you know what I mean. What it boils down to, it's not just something that's non-existent. Somebody actually has to, you know, uh, extract this via vacuum or whatever. I'm hearing they use vacuums these days from what I was told. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you guys can chime in on the process of it. That's just what I heard. They actually use a vacuum. I guess it all depends on where you're at. How far along you are, man. But we're gonna go ahead and get back to it. It's interesting right there. Shout out to Hotspot Casino. Condoms cause cancer and lambskin causes cysts. Sheesh. And like I said before, one of the other things that's used as well is that you know, condoms dry you out and you have an allergy to pills. So I guess it's raw sex. You know what I mean? But anyway, let's get back to the clip.
Is to love children, to nurture children, to protect them from evil in this world. And when women are out on the front lines demanding a right to end the life of children that they perceive to be inconvenient, um, we have to accept that we have been brainwashed into a cult. That's it. And it is difficult for me to even speak this now, as I'm due to give birth in 2 weeks, because I think to feel this child kicking inside of me, to feel this little girl kicking inside of me, and then to hear women say that they believe that this isn't a life, that this isn't a life that should be valued, to already know that I know my daughter's personality like I knew my son's personality in the womb. I knew exactly who my son was. It's so spiritual. It is so above politics, this connection that women have with children. And it starts long before you're holding a child in your stomach. It starts when you're a kid and you are holding a baby doll and you're nurturing it. It starts when you watch little toddler girls taking care of their little brothers and being so careful. It is above politics. It's who we are as spiritual beings. And so many of us have that spirituality systematically removed from us in the school system before we even get a chance to form our own thoughts. Again, I feel like I'm talking to you as a former member of that cult of pro-choiceness, and I do say this empathetically because I think it's sad when you look around and you see so many women that don't realize that um, fighting for life is all that matters when we're talking about the life of a child and the chance to live, and to really understand that using extreme arguments to say, oh, but what if, if a woman is raped, then this should be, we should only be arguing according to women that are raped. Well, let me tell you something. Of the 6 friends that I know that had an abortion, nobody was raped. People were having unprotected sex, because what's the point of practicing safe sex when you're being systematically taught in the school system that doesn't matter? You can just go get an abortion. It's easy. It's become a form of birth control, and we need to acknowledge that honestly and openly, that the reason
Just another form of birth control. But like you said, that's not the ones who had the R word or are a victim of the R word. That's not the majority. It's the minority in this case, and I can understand that. Definitely I can understand that. Either way it goes, it's just something to think about. I saw somebody say in the comment, "Why are men talking about this?" Hey, do men? I guess men don't have a choice, don't have a say so on whether you proceed. I mean, he has a choice whether he decides to strap up or use any form of birth control that's available to him. But I guess at the end of the day, like you say, women want things basically both ways. You know what I mean? Hey, this is us. You gave us the seed. Now the seed is mine. I can do what I want with it without, I don't care what you have to say about it. You know, even if he says, hey, I want you to get this done, I'm not going to get it done. Hey, I don't want you to get it done. I'm going to go get it done and don't have to tell you anything. So, and it happens all the time. Happens all the time. You need to go get it done. No, I'm not going to get it done. And vice versa. So, I'll be talking. I'm reading your comments here. But I'm not going to. It's just, I guess percentages. We people, uh, when something's 99.9999999999999, there is a chance that it could happen. There's a very good chance. I just want to be facetious. There's a very good chance. Scientifically. Come on, man. Cut the bull puppy. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man.
these abortions are happening is not because tons of women are getting raped. It's because tons of women are being irresponsible along with their partners, and because tons of men don't want to raise up and be responsible, and they just say to women, go get an abortion. So many of these women are affected long after they get these abortions. I've received tons of letters from these women, and I want to welcome those women to the pro-life movement. Like, you can change your mind. You can have had an abortion and you can be a spokesperson for the pro-life movement. You don't have to permanently be a person that pickets for these extreme organizations that demand a right to abort a child 9 months in the womb. And that's what's going to happen, unfortunately. In closing, what I think is going to happen now, obviously, is first and foremost, it will be sent down to the states. Women that want to get abortions will cross state lines. Women that are living in liberal states and governments, bodies in these liberal states like New York City are going to pass very extreme abortion laws, probably until the kid's 3 years old, and say it's your child, your choice. And then the opposite will happen in red states. They will ban abortions. And I think what will be interesting will be to look at the data. It will be interesting to look at red states that choose to ban abortion outright, and to see whether or not it curbs teen pregnancies, whether or not just knowing that it's not an option makes women pursue safer sex, makes women say, actually, okay, if the outcome of this is going to be a child, I need to be very serious about the partners that I have. We've become such a promiscuous society that people don't take their relations seriously at all, and they feel that it's up to the government to take care of that when they make poor decisions, take care of it, and it has contributed to the circumstance that we're in today. We are honestly, America is out of control when it comes to abortion. We have abortion policies that mirror North Korea. Nowhere else in the world is like this. My husband is English. He looks at these women in America and thinks that are marching and demanding to, trying to kill Supreme Court justices, and thinks that they're rabid. And he's correct. Something has gone amiss in America. It was time to pull this back, and it's time for us to have more honest and open conversations. So if you are pro-choice, I hope that you listen and just are willing to have an open conversation. If you are pro-life, I hope that you share this video, because there could be someone who's like me and doesn't, has never even considered any of these points, and just needs to hear a different perspective that is a bit more empathetic than being called a murderer. So thank you guys for watching, share, and I'm going to go have this baby.
I keep forgetting to unmute the mic, man. Interesting. Education is key. Education is key. I see you there, Calvin, man. I'm gonna bring you on shortly. Guys, if you want to call in, I'm about to, the link is pinned in the chat. Feel free to click on it if you got some thoughts on this situation. I hear people in the chat room. Don't get out of the chat, get off the chat room and click the link. Let's not be on the keyboard. Just call in, especially you women that are talking, that have opinions. I'm not saying it's a dialogue at the end of the day. It's not about arguing, so on and so forth. I'm just telling you my thoughts on it. I understand there are other ways. There are less aggressive forms of birth control, if you will, and the best of all being abstinent, but that's not being realistic, right? So, but hey, I say it is one of those things, definitely for you guys, for many people who do have things to say about Candace, and you say that she's basically against the Black community. She's a sellout. She's all of these different things, and she just went at length. That was a 15-minute video where she talked about the detriment of it being to the Black community and things that have been going on for the better part of 50, 60 years, or 70 years, excuse me, that's been going down. So, I mean, but you can just say this is just one case, but it's just a case where she's basically speaking about it, and now it's an issue. I should be able to dissect the living creature inside of me at any given moment, because it's me. Anyway, man, let me get off this. Let me bring Calvin on. What's up with you, Calvin, man? Talk to me, bro. How are you?
I'm doing good. Just chilling, doing laundry. We're gonna go back to work later on tonight.
Got you. You calling in from North Carolina? Are you in
Yes, I
Miami?
am. I'm in North
Okay.
Carolina right now. Yeah, I had a
Yeah.
great time in Miami.
All right. Good stuff, man. Hey, I'm happy for you, man. What's your thoughts though on this?
My thoughts is this. Even though I have personal issues with Candace Owens, but I do stand by her and agree with her. And this is
Right.
the thing when it comes to just the Black community. We gotta learn how to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's so funny. I would take a jab at the one who talked about the heifer who talks about aborting Black babies, but yeah, I'm not gonna go there with this particular YouTuber B123, but
Mm-hmm.
talking all this stuff. But it's so funny when it comes to the whole divester argument. How come y'all don't stand by Candace Owens? You divestors?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
It's interesting because I agree with her and the stuff, and I do stand by her by calling out the the BLM scammers,
Mm-hmm.
and what she said is on point. Here's the thing: goes back to that you got a bunch of females the scallywags, which are 90%, I would say, and I'm being nice, I still would say this 99% that want to be the garden tools, hoes. They want to do what they want to do what they want to do without no consequences, and they want the man to be the cleanup man at the end of the day. And it is so sad. It's like this rest in power, KS. See, and the thing is, I have come to realize myself, they don't want to change. I mean, they don't want to change that. Even they will get better outcomes. Now you got a lot of males who don't want to change their ways too.
Correct.
But the thing is, what people got to understand, and I was trying to tell this heifer on the tag, the dating app, lies used to talk about all the men cheating and stuff. I said, first of all, look here. Y'all keep going after the 5%. There are plenty of dudes. Well, he got to have swag. Why does he got to have swag? Swag for what? What are you bringing? See, it has everything I'm speaking of has everything to do with why these modern heifers are the way they are. And she tried to say, "You look at you fat. You can't get no buns, ma'am. I can get feet and buns. Okay, don't play with me. Don't so you want to run your mouth? Bring me in. We can have a talk.
Right.
I'm not the one who's dusty.
Right.
Unproductive and dusty.
Oh,
and based on the type of males you choose, that's why you're a loser. Of course, I got blocked.
I got you. Yeah. So Candace. So do you think, based off what she covered overall, I know you say you have some disagreements with what she says, but do you feel that moving forward for the Black community specifically, do you feel that things will change, or you just said the women aren't going to change? What do you think is going to be the outcome of this?
This generation of women, and I'm a positive person. They're not going to change, guys. It's going to take the younger people, but it has to start with us who's alive, who are the millennials, those born in the early 80s down. And yes, the Gen X's, but us, because you and I are the same age. It has to start with us. We're going to have to just carry the torch and try to get the like-minded people in our age group and older to support us. And we're going to have to change and set the standard. Because guys, and I don't care what people say, women are not going to change. They're not going to change for you. You're going to have to change and set the standards and put yourself in a position and stop simping. And that's the thing. You got to, no more of this pump and dump. How about you just leave them and let them be? But we got too many weak people. You got too many of these heifers who are weak for the eggplant. And you got too many of these dudes who talk all this red pill stuff, but yet they still mess with these type of females that they complain about. And see, nobody wants to take accountability. Everybody's perfect. Everybody got it together, but nobody wants to keep it real. Now, here's the thing. When I learned about JR, when I talked about my flaws and my issues, I got roasted. But here's the thing. I'm the one who kept, but I kept it 1,000.
Yeah.
Why is it that people who actually admit, you even admit that you had your personal flaws, why is it that we get canceled, but these people can act like they're perfect and everybody supports them?
What I say is that you shouldn't complain about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can admit your flaws. I have no issues admitting my flaws, just like you have no issues admitting your flaws. And I know we're getting off on something different here, but when it comes down to responsibility, accountability, it's refreshing to admit your flaws and, not being the same thing of complaining about it,
Yeah.
So I think that that's very important in terms of that. But I'm trying to get one of these ladies to come on here that's definitely been active in the chat, specifically VAE, either you or Maya. You don't even have to show your face. I know if you don't feel comfortable, I would like to hear your thoughts in real time on this instead of you guys are live in the chat here talking for sure. But instead of just men, since men, we shouldn't be talking about this issue. You know what I'm saying? I would like to hear from some women in reference to it. But
I hope so too.
But anything else you want to add on that, Calvin?
I'll say this too. The thing when I realized when it comes to this, and you had Mammy Obama talking her mess, I don't take her. I don't take his the whip boy who whip Obama.
Okay.
And the thing, and it's just what I'm saying about this is that I actually don't have an issue of the outcome is, because maybe if you took that away and took that safety net away, I bet you people will act right. And that's the thing when it comes to the granocracy, is that there's too many safety nets and handouts. I don't care what these pro-wax are saying.
Right.
It's all a bunch of bitter ass washed leftover heifers and simps. You take the safety nets away, you see how people will have to clean their mess up. And I want to leave it at that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I appreciate that, man. That was a good thought right there. You know what I'm saying? Well, hey, bro, I appreciate you calling in. Like I said, and I'm gonna catch you later, man.
All right, got you.
All right, later. Yeah, that safety net is a mug. I always used to say that as well. Like that safety net of that some countries don't have. Some countries don't have a safety net, and they definitely don't have. Even though socialism, in my opinion, we can talk crap about socialism, but the U.S. has tons of socialist programs that benefit everyone, not just the lower class. It benefit the upper class as well. So that's subjective. But when I mean in terms of uh, the welfare situation and things like that, that basically incentivize the woman, even though men can get welfare and things like that, incentivize the woman that she has a backup plan. She has a safety net. If she is, the government will assist. And I'm not saying the US is the only country, but you have some countries where you can't get child support. Some third world countries and things like that. They may not even have good medical care or access to be able to have this procedure done like the US does. I mean, but with freedom, there comes problems. There comes some of the highest issues in terms of the R word, teen pregnancy, basically drug addiction, all these other things. The US, don't get me wrong, US is the greatest country on earth. I don't care what anybody says. But with certain freedoms, like I said, comes issues. We don't get everything right, but we do get a lot of things right. And leadership, obviously has a lot to do with it. And people are divided on this situation that just happened based upon leadership, whether you had issues with him or not, previous leadership, uh, who basically is being, some people are hating and obviously they're thanking him for where we're at today. So that's all I have to say about it, man. I think that was a good video. I was hoping to get a woman caller to call in and express. But like I said, some women are usually a little bit, either you're uncomfortable or you're more vocal in the chat than you are speaking. So I can understand that too. No shot at you, but hey, that's what I was looking for that. So also shout out to one of my moderators, Red Lipstick Vibes. It's her birthday. Happy birthday to Red Lipstick Vibes. Y'all go ahead and subscribe to her channel if you want to drop that in the chat. Red Lipstick Vibes, if you want to drop your channel for people to follow you and things of that nature. Follow her on Instagram, all her social media tags if you want to put that there. And with that being said, man, I appreciate you guys for tuning in here on this Sunday. Very not very controversial, but now it currently is. So I'm gonna try to come at you guys with more videos, more social topics that I want to do live streams that I would like to have a dialogue with you guys and things like that. So hey, it is what it is. Hey, feel free to also email me any topics you'd like me to discuss in reference to this. Shoot me a message on Instagram if you follow. Shoot me a DM on Instagram if you follow me on Instagram. If there's a topic you'd like me to discuss, and I'll be glad to talk about it. So shout out to I remember this name. Laba Laba. Laba Laba. I'm assuming that's how you say it. Laba Laba's World. For the $2 Canadian. I'm assuming that's what that is. So yeah. If you like these videos, you probably be seeing more of these. Here's Red Lipstick Vibes information right here. You guys can see it in the chat as well. So go ahead and click on that and subscribe to our channel. And man, super chats are coming in. Sheesh. Watch, talk, and act. Shout out to you for the $5. We always trying to get women to call in on Zoe Williams show, but it's difficult. Good show, sir. You about to have me get off on a different tangent, man. Women want to call in. I was having a conversation earlier, and I guess I'll extend this portion right now. I was having a conversation with another content creator. Hence the KS effect, where women want to see women get bashed and women want to get bashed, because at the end of the day, it's just attention. You know what I'm saying? You're a special guest, so I'm not into all that bashing. You know what I'm saying? I just want to have a dialogue to see what's on your mind. You know, if you're pro or opposed to it, you know, I just want to hear what you have to say. You know what I mean? In real time. That way, everybody can hear it. You know, I understand everybody's not. I'm not a public speaker. You know, I understand everybody's not a public speaker and may be reserved and things like that. But it's always good. You know, we're not going to beg you. You have a schedule of your live shows. No, I'm random, man. I'm random. If it hits me, it'll hit me. I'll try to put it out in the morning, what topic I'll be talking about. I'll put it out on my community page. If I do it, if not, you just will have to see it, you know, ahead of time. But I'm just random. Make sure you hit all the bell with all notifications. You know what I mean? That way you can tune in. But like I said, I'll definitely try to cover more social issues and things like that in reference to live streams on this channel. This is a funny one. It's her consent that allows the sperm to enter the womb. The internet is forever. No lives for you. Yeah. I mean, you're live right now commenting, so this is going to be on the internet forever. But I guess you're saying your face isn't going to be on there. You know, so I can dig it. Men must take responsibility of their seed at the end of the day. If you don't give it to her, she can't do anything with it. Then there'll be some law passing where you have to shoot the club up. Wouldn't that be some ish, huh? You know, he's withholding it, or he, you know, all kind of shit they got going on, man. Imagine that. Hit that subscribe button. Appreciate you. Anyway, guys, I've been talking long enough, man. It's time to retire for the evening. You know, like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit me up on Linktree to book a session. Fellas, ladies, if you want to book a one-on-one, definitely hit me up on there. Purchase all my books and merch. Make sure you follow me on Instagram if you haven't. Subscribe to the channel. Hit all notifications. If this is your first time tuning in to one of my live streams, hit all notifications. That way you receive that notification when I go live. Even if you're at work, make sure you watch. With that being said, listen, this is Wisdom. Peace be upon you all, and I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. Happy Sunday, and I hope you guys have a great night and the rest of your weekend. And I'll probably see you guys tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. So, yeah, I'm out of here, man. This is a good one. Later.